under this administration. Isn't that concerning, Mr. Mongo, for the citizens of Detroit? And
it's been concerning. We've been losing population a long time. But what is really concerning is that we've been losing the Black middle class. Black people been leaving. They're going to East Point. They're going to Warren. They're going to St. Clair Shores. They're moving up Macomb County. They done turned Oakland County brown. Yeah, so we done lost a lot of folks. And working with Mayor Young, and I remember working on the first census when the government wanted to say, well, Detroit is going under 1 million for the first time in a long time. The mayor sent people out to find folks, and we knew that they didn't count everybody in this city, and that those figures wasn't correct. But we've been bleeding. People looking for better schools, they're looking for jobs. The transportation system is a wreck. So
well, hello, everyone. You are with Urban Interests. It is Friday. I am your host, Angela Matthews. We've got great stories as well as guests today. Let me tell you, the Detroit mayor's race is heating up. We'll tell you a little bit about that later, as well as there's still the mayhem that's going on over there in Del Rio, Texas, regarding Haitian immigrants and that whole situation. And then we are going to talk about a statement that was made. Duggan made a statement about the candidate Anthony Adams and his hate speech. We'll get into that conversation as well. Then we have two wonderful guests. We're going to talk about Haiti. Here's some. We have a guest that's returning with us. And then we'll talk about, is James Craig really ready for this governorship, this candidacy that he's seeking, as well as what else is going on that you should know about regarding this race that's coming up. So stay connected. We will be right back with our stories as well as our guests. I'm so excited. Today is a hot topic on today.
Movies, documentaries, TV shows, local, national, and world news, history, and culture. No one tells your story better than UIN because we are you. With us, you can become more than a consumer. You become a keeper of the culture. Go to uintv.net. Pick a channel to support and subscribe today. Do it now.
Can I ask you a question? Why'd you get vaccinated?
I'd like to go to these school dances and spring break to have fun.
I want to be in person for college next semester.
I want to get out of this pandemic.
I wanted to protect the people around me.
Why did you get vaccinated?
Because I'm really looking forward to hanging out with my friends.
I just want to go to a show, dance around, not have to worry about anything, feel like I'm free again.
So we can not miss out on the best years of our life.
All right, we're going to get to the stories right now. We have mayoral candidate Anthony Adams has some very terse words for incumbent Mayor Mike Duggan. This is what he says. Adams says Duggan's refusal to debate him because he allegedly used hate speech in his campaign is nothing but a ruse to cover up what is really going on. Take a listen to what he said at a press release.
No, he did not do that because he can't do it. Because if you go through my Twitter feed, if you go through my Instagram feed, if you go through my Facebook posting, there's nothing in there coming remotely close to what, I don't even know what he considers to be hate. What he considers to be hate is the fact that I'm talking the truth. And when truth becomes hate, then we have a problem, because when I'm talking about your tax policies, I'm talking about your contracting policies, I'm talking about the corruption and favoritism that he continues to show in our community. There's a reason why his friends are benefiting from contracts that the citizens in this city pay for. And it's time out for us not to speak truth to power about what he's not doing in our community and how his friends are benefiting from literally every tax dollar that's being spent in the city of Detroit.
Wow. Attorney Anthony Adams says that Duggan is not respecting the democratic process, and that he should respect this process, and it requires a debate between two candidates to take place. Well, people, we really finally know what that statement was referring to when he said that Anthony Adams' campaign was about hate. According to a story by Violet Economova of Deadline Detroit, Alex Wiley, his campaign manager, pointed out a tweet by Adams asking, why can't Black folks buy land from the land bank? You see, the statement is truth and it is not hate, because we as Blacks, we know about hate. Hate is Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hate is white cops or policemen beating Malice Green to death with a flashlight. Hate is building a freeway and a football field through the heart of Black businesses, and then you're erecting a plaque to note what you did. See, we know about hate. You see, Duggan's statement is basically, you can chop it up as Trump talk, because labeling the truth as hate is what happened in the previous administration. What is worse is that local white media and Duggan's Black supporters giving him a pass on this. They're also giving him a pass on his affair. He gave a contract, and we gave him a pass on an affair that he was having with the person that he gave the contract to and is soon to be his wife. So they drug Kwame through this particular situation, and they used his affair to oust him out of office and to get him 28 years of prison. Where is the fairness in that? We'll have more on this particular situation, the land bank story, on Wednesday. Be sure to tune in. So Daniel Foote, the U.S. Special Envoy to Haiti, says the Biden administration's decision to deport thousands of Haitian immigrants was both inhumane and counterproductive. He considers the policy to be deeply flawed, that he has submitted his resignation. Members of the Black Congressional Caucus are also weighing in on the mistreatment of Haitian immigrants. This is what U.S. Congresswoman Maxine Waters had to say after Border Patrol security was videotaped on horses with whips. Come on now, this is 2021.
I'm unhappy, and I'm not just unhappy with the cowboys who were running down Haitians and using their reins to whip them. I'm happy with the administration. We are following the Trump policy. He is the one that does not follow the Constitution and would not allow those seeking refuge to be able to petition to get into the country. What the hell are we doing here? What we witnessed takes us back hundreds of years. What we witnessed was worse than what we witnessed in slavery. Cowboys with their reins again, whipping Black people, Haitians, into the water where they're scrambling and falling down when all they're trying to do is escape from violence in their country.
That is such a disturbing video. Waters' comparison of former Trump to the current president brings to memory the late Malcolm X, who said, in relation to Black people, a white Democrat and a white Republican are like the fox and the wolf. Both are canine and both will bite. So meanwhile, in Hollywood, they are mourning the passing of prolific director Melvin Van Peebles. He is the father of Mario Van Peebles. His acclaimed film, Sweetback, put him on the map. So we'll have a look at this, and then we'll come back with our guests. All right, everyone, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back because we are going to continue a conversation with this situation going on with our Haitians brothers and sisters.
At Detroit Public Schools Community District, our students reflect our legacy, seek knowledge, and inspire us every day. Magic happens in our classrooms where we educate every student to build a stronger Detroit. Enroll today and rise up with DPSCD.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Today, we bring you the first part of our global broadcast exclusive conversation.
The streets of Tahrir have once again been filled.
Key issues here at the United Nations Climate Change Conference remain unresolved.
Police are saying the protesters to move further and further away.
I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez.
And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!
All right, everyone, we're going to get into a little bit more of a conversation about what's going on over there in the Del Rio, Texas area. We've got Christopher Sanjanti. He is a repatriated Haitian American for the past 5 years, has been a successful entrepreneur, media personality, and monthly economic news show host. He is president of HeyPro Distribution Incorporated and founder of Sanjanti Media. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Okay. All right. First of all, I want to ask you, how are you doing? Because the last time that we previous time that we spoke with you, there was a tragedy that happened over in Haiti.
You know, as so many Haitians, we're moving on because there's only one direction to go. Really, I think it's shortly after. Of course, I'm sure you're aware we had that earthquake in the south of Haiti that affected 3 major departments of Gondas of the south and Nipez in particular. 2 major cities were affected. Okai in particular is the 3rd largest city in Haiti, and so it's just been one thing after another. You know, it's fortunately Port-au-Prince, where much of the population's concentrated, wasn't affected, but still, it's just been one punch after another. We're just trying to, you know, keep it together, really.
And please know that there are lots of people over here in the U.S. that are definitely praying and definitely got our Haitian brothers and sisters in our thoughts, and we're watching this atrocity along the Del Rio, Texas border, where thousands of Haitians want to leave where they call home, and it is obvious as to why. So let's talk about that a little bit.
You know, it's so much. You know, it's a more complicated issue than how it's being derived. Many of these Haitians, quite honestly, they left Haiti years ago, well before what's happening now. I think the narrative sort of being driven and say, hey, what's happening now recently is causing them to be over there. A lot of these Haitians left 5, 6, 7 years ago, back when Chile and Brazil had opened their doors. A lot of these Haitians were established, though I do understand the crisis, COVID, hit a lot of these Haitians very hard because they were in service industries, service sectors that Once COVID happened, you saw it with your own eyes, what happened in the US, same thing happened in Latin America, but even more aggressively. And so that sort of gave the a lighter to then this sort of internal mass migration and sort of the carrot that sort of drove a lot of folks. Really was two things. The first was a hope, understanding, inclination that when Biden had renewed the TPS for Haitians, that sort of was, oh, okay, maybe, hey, there's a positive atmosphere, given that Trump was certainly looking to close it down, and it was on a timer to close it down, actually. And if he was reelected, it 100% would have ended. And secondly, there's just interesting aspect of social media, how not even social media, WhatsApp and other electronic messaging that really fueled a level of communication, uncentralized communication that really have never seen that before. Because again, when you have 10,000 people and they're all coming in through the same entry point and a lot of them use the same pathways, that's something that I think we got to sit back and think about. That's unheard of. And quite frankly, let me tell you something, Angela. I'm hearing rumors on my side. There's 10,000 right now, 11,000. There's as much as 20,000 currently working their way through Latin America right now. So this might just be the tip of the iceberg.
Wow. It's definitely, it's definitely heartbreaking as to what is going on, what is happening, what we're seeing. You saw the video of the security on horseback with whips. This is not the 1800s. This is 2021. But to have the audacity to even mount up on a horse and to do that, to manifest that action is quite disturbing. Quite disturbing.
Yeah,
so
I think that's akin to, like, was there not a single Black person in the room when that conversation was happening? It's baffling.
It is. I'm gonna tell you something. Thank goodness for cameras, okay,
right.
And recording, or a whole lot we wouldn't even know about, a whole lot we did know about, but now cameras gives us definitely some insight as to what's going on. What are repatriation flights? And I don't know if I pronounce that correct.
Repatriation flights. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. What is
a lot
that?
of syllables there. Yeah. So there's flights. Unfortunately, I mean, that's what's so sad. You have these folks who really, sold everything they had. They trekked months through gang areas, through jungles, disease. Many of them didn't make it, right? Only to get to the border and not even. And here's the crucial thing. That's just in most inhumane part, more than anything, is the fact that they're not even given a chance. There's a protocol that needs to happen where someone gets to your border, you listen to them, right? And then you say, well, I don't believe you, and then get out of here, right? That's not even happening. They're loading these folks up into buses. A lot of them are being lied to, saying, oh yeah, we're gonna listen to you. And next thing you know, they're on a plane being shipped back to a country that, remember I mentioned, they haven't been in Haiti 5-7+ years. Right. So a lot of their contacts, a lot of their associates, they're really starting. It's the only thing to start from zero. They're starting from negative because Haiti, is lacking so much. And so, and the treatment we're getting reports from folks who, when they touch down, they're speaking with reporters. They're talking about how many of these guys and women haven't even been afforded the opportunity to brush their teeth, haven't been afforded the opportunity to even shower. They're hearing stories where more and more instances of them being shackled inside the plane, but of course they take it off, before they get off the plane, so the media doesn't see, right? And so the inhumanity that's happening right now, it's on a scale that, we would not imagine a Democrat president to be sitting and seeing that. It's incredible, and certainly this is an inflection point for the Biden administration, inflection point for a lot of Democrats, a lot of Haitian Americans as well. That I think the roosters are going to come back to the hen house in this next election.
Yes, it is. Not only the next election, but the elections that are happening now with 2022 and 2023 as well. So people want to wait to 2024, but things are happening now and people are being put in key places right about now. We know there's a strategy going on with the Republicans, the GOP. We hear about it all the time in the news. Now, here's something that people need to pay attention to is that Daniel Foote, the U.S. Special Envoy for Haiti, resigned yesterday. And by the time this airs, it would say probably he resigned at some point this week, saying he could not be associated with what he called the inhumane decision by the U.S. to deport thousands of Haitian refugees to a homeland in turmoil. Christensen, your thoughts on that statement from a very high, visible, important position in person?
You know what, let me take a second to applaud Mr. Foote, Honorable Mr. Foote. He's invited anytime to my barbecues. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of tenacity to make that sort of stand on morals, on principles. And it takes someone who's really been here, who's seen the difficulties and challenges. He mentions in his write-up that it's baffling how even for the U.S. employees, embassy employees, they're restricted many days in the embassy. They're unable to leave because of different things that are happening in that area. But yet, and by the way, we're level 4 right now. The U.S. says do not travel, right? Do not come here for so many reasons. But yet, we're almost on the same. We're on the same level as Afghanistan. Literally, the country we're bringing in people and refugees, but yet they're okay, despite everything, to send them back. And Daniel Foote stepping down, really, I think, it speaks volumes to, I think, even internally, there's folks who get it. Internally, there's an understanding what they're doing is wrong, but yet they're pushing forward anyways. And at the end of the day, if they're pushing forward anyways, despite obvious breaks trying to happen, that just tells you that at the end of the day, Biden doesn't care. And here's the thing, guys, Angela, Biden was clear back in 1994. He said very clearly, there's a clip you guys can go look at online. He said, Haiti could fall in the Caribbean Ocean, or it could rise 300 feet up in the air. It wouldn't matter at all to U.S. interests, right? That was his words, right? And you can see very clearly, Biden still believes that. The way he's acting, he still doesn't care about Haiti one way or other. He doesn't care about Haitians one way or another, whether they be American citizens or not.
So Christensen, isn't this particular situation under the I would say under the hands of Vice President Kamala Harris? What is her connection to this? I thought that this is something that she would oversee in her position, but we haven't heard not one word from her. What are your thoughts about that?
So on Twitter, there was a clip where she was leaving her plane, or the usual when they're on the White House lawn and they're commuting and they say a few words to the press. And there's someone, a press did ask her about, in particular, the horse scene. And she, of course, being a political stalwart, said, "Oh, no, it shouldn't happen, and we'll look into it." But certainly it happened under their watch. The flip from election Camilla, saying very clearly, no, we need to accept refugees, we need to follow American principles. And then even shortly before this, she was saying, don't come. Remember, she had a speech, don't come, right? So the 180, I think, is such a typical politician. And I think that is just gonna stick with the administration, just the typical politicianness and the inability to stick to principles from the beginning that they campaign on. It's going to come back to them.
Yeah, we're not even a year out, and there's so much that has happened. And of course, there are those, and it has been said, just in conversations, that the Biden administration has, had been set up and has been set up basically to fail. However, on some particular issues such as this, that there should be more of a voice speaking out against this treatment. Now, the Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security has often, not often, but has temporarily suspended the use of horse patrol in Del Rio, Texas. That's what we have here. After those images surfaced about them being on horses and with whips like we're in the 1800s. So why is this even, it shouldn't even be a topic of conversation in 2021. And then those officers riding on horseback, attacking, Black people. I wonder what is happening to them. So did they get suspended? And where are they right now? Because clearly you were caught on tape.
Yeah, haven't heard yet. Of course, they try to defend themselves. And well really, the intent of the whips wasn't to whip the people, it was for the horses, and so they're trying to structure it, as you can imagine, to assist them. But I can say, if I can say one thing, that's one reason why, as I'm talking to you, I'm in Haiti right now, and I moved back going on 5 years, set up different companies. In fact, I'm launching a major company here at the moment that hopefully is going to be a real job maker and real shaker and mover. And the reality is, we need to keep moving Haiti and making Haiti livable for all Haitians. And that's the solution. That's one that I keep working towards. I keep trying to galvanize other Haitian Americans, anyone who can hear. We need to focus not on charity. We need to focus on making Haiti a place folks don't have to leave, right? And ultimately, that will prevent these sort of situations of being so embarrassingly treated. And here's the thing: it's what's so sad is America's not unique. Dominican Republic, Chile, Brazil. There's all these places where there's weekly there's stories of Haitians being embarrassed for the crime of only just trying to be in a better economic situation. And so that's really my focus, and that's why I thank you, Angela, for being invited here to not only share that side, but also say, hey, there's people fighting for a better Haiti, and I'm glad to be a part of that fight.
That's good, Christensen. I just want to ask you, do you know about how many Haitians are still in Del Rio, Texas, and will they be deported?
It's hard to get a good count because, as the Biden administration is very aggressively trying to disperse them into different detention camps across the country and also get them on planes in Haiti, there's still a constant trickle of folks coming in and replacing those who are being exited out. There's the vast majority is still there. Last count I heard was about 9,000 or so still there. I think this is going to be a situation that's going to be here for a couple of weeks at least.
Okay. Now, before I let you go, and you were talking about let's make Haiti a place where Haitians don't have to leave. And so at this particular point, are there other I would say successful persons, whether they're Haitians or whether they're people just have a heart for what's going on? Are they releasing the finances with, I would say personal, because obviously federal government isn't doing too much at this point, where this can be done within the next, I don't know, 90 days to 6 months?
Releasing the funds for, verify for me.
The rebuilding of Haiti, what you're doing, what you are into, those people connecting with you, coming together collectively with each other to say, hey, let's pull our resources together, let's pull our monies together, and let's, solve this situation ourselves, because it doesn't seem as though we're going to get help anytime soon to solve it from anybody else.
Listen, my newest venture, Hybrid Distribution, it was raised by Haitian Americans, our Haitian investment group. We're going to be exporting products from Haiti to America and the world. We have folks on our board and our advisory group that's in Singapore, Dubai. We have investors who are from those areas as well. We're looking to be exporting to those areas as well. We pooled our funds together to the tune of just shy of $100,000, right? And so when I'm speaking of the possibility of Haitians actually doing that and actually putting their funds together to execute and provide opportunity, I speak it because I'm living it, right? It's going to take a lot longer than 90 days. It's going to take a constant push and a constant perseverance and resilience. But I'm optimistic it can happen. And I hope to serve as a guide, a beacon, to those who are looking to be inspired, because everywhere else is just a constant negativity of Haiti and a constant negativity of what we can't do, but we need the focus to stay where it is. And again, I thank you, Angela, for giving the opportunity for me to speak and give that fair and balanced perspective that really it's hard to find anywhere.
All right, thank you so much. I know that, this atrocity really pulls at your heartstring, and then it pulls at ours as well. And so thank you for coming as well to give us that balance, view perspective as to what's really going on, because of course, the media will play it up as they do, and we never truly hear from the other side. So thank you so much, my friend, and much success with what you're doing, and know that we've got Haiti in our thoughts and prayers and what's going on.
Thank you. We'll keep pushing. Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you later. Okay. All right. Christerson. I love his name. Christerson Gentil. He is a repatriated Haitian American. He's been a successful entrepreneur for 5 years or so. He's on the battlefield. He's trying to do something very, very productive, futuristic for Haiti. And so we will keep up with him because we want to know what he's doing and how we can help. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about this election that's happening in Detroit. It's heating up, and you don't want to miss who we're going to talk to about it. All right, you're still with us with Urban Interest. Listen, that the races in Detroit are heating up. Actually, in the state of Michigan, there's so much going on. And so we try to keep our ears to the grindstone. We have with us someone whose voice resonates. He's quite informative. I've heard it say that he knows where the bodies are in Detroit. Also, he is a strategist and political commentator, as well as consultant. He has his own radio show at 9:10 a.m. that is on Saturdays from 10 to noon. I am talking about the infamous voice of Mr. Adolph Mongo. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mongo, you've been speaking out for many years with regards to what's going on, not only in the city of Detroit, but just as a political strategist and commentator. Give us a little bit more about you for those who may not know.
Oh, I'm an old newspaper reporter. I worked in DC, Maryland, Colorado, Kalamazoo. I used to write a column for the Detroit News at one time. Worked for Coleman Young for 8 years. And then went out on my own, working for politicians. They drain you of a lot of energy. So, and I don't know how I stayed in this business as long as I have, but hey, I'm here, still here.
Well, we're glad you're here. I'm glad you're here because there's so much that's going on and so much that we don't know about. So we need a trusted voice that can bring out the truth and the facts, and you're well respected for that. So thank you for your work. So you got to stay, okay? You got to stay. Okay. I like to have a little bit of fun while I'm talking about some serious issues. You were recently featured in Detroit, Deadline Detroit, and there's some questions that I'd like to pose to you. One, I hosted a mayor's debate with regards to Anthony Adams and some other candidates. I do believe it was on the 16th of September, but only Anthony Adams showed up. And that was one of two that the mayor was invited to from Detroit IPTV, and he did not show up.
I'm not surprised.
Was it smart?
On his part, the problem with this campaign, Anthony Adams got into the race too late. Last year or a year before that, he should have been putting together his organization. And when you jump in it 6 months, 7 months to an election, already most of the money is gone, and the support is not there. The majority of people don't know Anthony Adams. I know him. I work with him. We used to work together in the Young administration, and we worked together when Kwame Kilpatrick did his first run. We both supported the late Bill Brooks for mayor. So I know Anthony real well, but he started too late. And when you got a lead like that, and you saw what happened, only 14% of the people went out and voted during the primary, which is ridiculous. And that's who controls these elections, 14%, 15%. Why would that? I'm running the Mayor Duggan campaign. I tell them, why would you give him a platform? So, and I understand the frustration of the Anthony Adams campaign. They want to debate. 4 years ago, Coleman Young Jr., they had a debate. And he brought out some issues. He forced Mayor Duggan to address them. This campaign has been one of these genres. It hasn't been an exciting campaign. Nobody has. You don't see commercials on TV. You see some billboards. Billboards don't vote. You know, people got to know who you are. You got to push some buttons and make people start talking about some of the issues. We have a lot of issues in Detroit if you want to talk about the issues. So no, I'm not surprised that Mayor Duggan is not going to debate him. And you know, he's in the catbird seat on whether you debate or not to debate.
Wow. So, I've got to go and be a cheerleader of optimism and say that those who have heard about Attorney Adams, those who have the monies that they can put behind him and push him forward to the front and push his platform forward to the front. Why is that not happening? Because it is not over until it's over.
And there's no question about it. You don't dismiss anybody. That's why, you know, if you don't think you should take a chance and debate, you don't debate. But there are people out there, you ask why they don't jump behind Anthony Adams, why they not supporting Anthony Adams, that they don't like this administration. That's a good question, but you have lots of reasons. Same reasons that folks said they couldn't support Coleman Young for mayor 4 years ago. Oh, I don't think he can win. Oh, I don't like his mother. Oh, he's not like his daddy. Oh, and always you hear all these excuses. Or they supporting the mayor, and there's a lot of people. They got contracts. Lots of reasons. I don't like him. I don't like who's working on his campaign. You hear all kind of reasons. I've heard them throughout the years. Why? When you ask for support for a certain candidate, and people really don't want to say, I'm not going to support it, but you know, they don't really want to answer the question. You know, already gave. You know, I'm not supporting anybody. You hear them all. So that's what you hear. But the main reason people don't think he can win the election. That's the main reason. That's the number one reason.
Wow, that's really concerning that people don't think he can win the election. There has been talks or mentions that the leaders, I guess the powerful leaders, have been bought by the Duggan administration with contracts and some other things. And so their votes have been paid for already.
I heard that for 40 years. They said the same thing about Coleman Young, Dennis Archer, Kwame Kilpatrick. You know, they say that about you. When you're an incumbent, you control the narrative. And you know, and that's the way it is. Unfortunately, money talks. There's no question about it. Look at how much money they spending on presidential elections. Already, people getting emails from folks in Georgia and Florida. They raising money for next year's election. That's why Anthony Adams started out late. You can't
Okay. So Duggan doesn't show up because he's like, why should I show up? Because I've already won. Is that the premise?
Not that he already won. Not that he already won, but he don't want to give him a platform. That's the premise. It used to be a time, and I'm gonna tell you, it used to be a time where you had organizations like the League of Women Voters, those kind of organizations that put on debates. That it was, it was a given. If you was in a major race, you was going to debate. The TV stations or the newspapers, they sponsored the debates. The internet changed a whole lot of things. So you don't have them saying, okay, you're going to have 2 debates or 3 debates, and then you start negotiating whether you have 2 or 1. But you always had debates. But we've gone from those days. Campaigns are run different, and the pandemic makes it even worse, where it's not knocking on doors anymore. It is not going out shaking hands. It's not that kind of campaigning. So you do what you got to do. The mayor's out there every week. He got a press conference. They come out and they cover him. Every week, Anthony Adams puts something out, and he doesn't get the coverage that he think he should. So, you got to buy your own coverage at times. That means put some ads on TV, on radio, and get your message out to the voters.
So with Detroit losing population under this administration, isn't that concerning, Mr. Mongo, for the citizens of Detroit? And it's been
concerning. We've been losing population a long time. But what is really concerning is that we've been losing the Black middle class. Black people been leaving. They're going to East Point. They're going to Warren. They're going to St. Clair Shores. They're moving up Macomb County. They done turned Oakland County brown. Yeah, so we done lost a lot of folks, and working with Mayor Young, and I remember working on the first census when the government wanted to say, well, Detroit is going under 1 million for the first time in a long time. The mayor sent people out to find folks, and we knew that they didn't count everybody in this city, and that those figures wasn't correct. But we've been bleeding. People looking for better schools, they're looking for jobs. The transportation system is a wreck. So people running from crime, been doing that for a long time. You just can't throw it at, you can throw it at the Duggan's footsteps because he is the mayor, but it goes back. And how do we stop it? How do we get more people to come in? Who got some great ideas on bringing more jobs to Detroit? There's a lot of issues you can talk about. You got to put them on the table. The media, it can't be a campaign folder for candidates, but they can, and the media should be covering the mayor's race. They should be covering city council. We got a race with the clerk's office, and people not happy with the present clerk. But have you heard anything? Have you read anything? Have you seen anything? This has been the quietest election in a long time. You tell me, you one of the few outlets that's talking about the campaign. And not many are saying, why are we not talking about these issues? And why are we not talking about why we losing population?
You're absolutely right. There is a young man, his last name is McCampbell, who's running for the city clerk's position. Very, well-spoken, seemingly well-rounded individual. But you just asked the question, city clerk's position will be on the election board in November. However, what's going on with the notoriety of that? We are certainly trying, to do our part in bringing out the candidates and allowing people to hear them. Let's switch gears a little bit to the Mackinac Policy Conference that's been happening this week. Mayor Duggan sat down with Stephen Henderson in a one-on-one. And did you get a chance to see it? And also, some are saying that the interview was just kind of like fluff. There were no hard-hitting questions that were asked of the mayor. So,
well, that's a party atmosphere up there. Any real dealings already been dealt with. People go up there, the hobnob with the political powerhouses of the state. And I always wondered if it's the Detroit Chamber of Commerce, why isn't it here in Detroit? And why you take it all the way up to Mackinac Island? I always ask that question. That's why I don't travel up to Mackinac Island. It shouldn't be here. This is the power base of Michigan. This is the living room of the state, southeastern Michigan. Why it's not in Detroit? So no, I didn't watch it. So I couldn't even tell you about it. But it's a pretty festive atmosphere. Reminds me of the Congressional Black Caucus weekend. People go there not to really discuss the real issues that's happening in the Black community. They go there to go to the Detroit party, the New York party, DC, the hobnob with celebrities. That's Mackinac.
Oh my goodness. There's been, of course, there's conversations. Conversations are always happening. In the opinion of the coverage about Duggan and his particular person, his mistress, he's soon to marry, there seemed to be no coverage on that. But with regards to Kwame Kilpatrick and that whole situation, blasted all over the media.
You know the difference in that was they went to court and they got him on a technicality, lying. And who been prosecuted for lying about sleeping with somebody? I think that was the first. But as the late Mayor Young said, don't go to court, don't answer a subpoena. You stay away from that. And they made it a campaign issue, they made it a political issue, and they made it a criminal issue. It's unfortunate. When Governor Blanchard was in office, he divorced his wife and married his secretary, not a peep. When Engler was in office, he divorced his wife and married some woman he was seeing on the side. Nothing was written about it. When Coleman Young was in office, he had a baby by a woman, but he wasn't married. He was a single man, and they made a big deal about it. And you can always look at, but talking about people personal lives, I've done some real nasty ads on people, but I never used anybody's personal life to get a vote. So, I don't go down that road. But it was open season, and people talked about it. Him and his wife got a divorce, and there you are. And don't seem like people care.
Yeah, 450. I don't know. The contract was what, $450,000. It was quite a bit, and it should have gotten some traction in the media. But anywho, we all, we know it's black and white and in our face as to why one was covered and why one was not. So, in the last race, let's talk about this because you mentioned that Duggan got 50,000 votes out of 450,000 registered voters. You said that 14%, that was atrocious. So within that, how many do you think in that percentages was possibly the white vote?
Yeah, well, white listen, people vote for their own interest, and I'm sure that he got the majority of white Detroiters, but there are white Detroiters that don't like the administration. There have been white Detroiters that supported Black candidates, but the majority of the people in this city are African Americans. And the people that went to the polls have decided, and most of them are African Americans, that they wanted this guy to be the mayor. Now, how can you go get new voters? You know, Barack Obama, it wasn't, he didn't campaign, it was a movement. You know, people flocked, first time voters, people, they wanted to make a statement. But how can you find these voters that's in the city that voted for Barack Obama once or twice and never voted again, or don't vote for anybody? You know, Coleman Young rode the buses 4 years ago, talked to a lot of dissatisfied people on the buses. For 3 months, he rode the buses. Every week, we rode the buses. And those people, oh yeah, you're right, we're glad to see you on the bus, etc. But they didn't come out and vote, you know? So how do you get young people to come out and vote? How do you get the working folks to come out and vote? You know, it can be 80 degrees outside, you still can't get people out. You can get people a day off and say, go vote. You get paid if you go vote. People still won't vote. So, you know, you tell me, and then I can sell it to the community, because we need to get people out to vote. So when you got 14% of the people, that's who control it. Senior votes, that's who control it. You want a millage passed, it's the seniors that make it happen. And most of the time, they don't have kids in the schools, they retired. A lot of them on fixed income, but those people are the ones that decide in the elections. So that's who you go after.
All right. That is some good advice right there. Let's switch gears before I let you leave. Ex-police chief James Craig is running for governor, is trying to head in that direction. Is he in over his head, in your opinion?
He's an idiot. And I say he's an idiot because, and you can be a Republican, Democrat, whatever you want to be. But when you take a white supremacist platform and run it as your own, oh, we kept these Negroes in check during the Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matters protests and stuff. Black people in this city, they protested peacefully. James Craig wasn't the overseer whipping us in shape. James Craig, he's against abortion. He's against affirmative action. He's against everything that he profited from. I call them the Three Stooges: Larry Elder, James Craig, and Herschel Walker, Larry Moore and Curly, because they hate Black people, they hate themselves. So why would you come into a city and go to Bill Isle to have a press conference? You leave yourself wide open. Craig could have went to a church. He know a lot of ministers. He know a lot of community people. He could have had a couple hundred people stand with him and talked about the issues in Detroit. No, he comes with some Proud Boy looking people, come to the city and say the things that white folks want him to say. He is, as I call him, the great Black white hope. He's the Black person that white people want to put out front and say, you know, we not racist. Hey, we got a Black candidate. Somebody need to ask Bill Lucas about how it feels to be a Black Republican. Lucas switched parties, ran for governor, got his butt whipped. And you know, and they left him hanging. Listen, this right now, he's not ready for prime time. I thought he was a shoo-in to get the nomination, but we'll see how the Republicans play this one out. If they're going to do a John James for him, you know.
John James. Haven't heard that name in quite a long time.
Yeah, they must have a thing with the name James Craig, John James. You know, let's go find a Negro named James and run him for office. So, but it's just fun. It's pathetic that in order to be a Republican, a Black Republican, you got to hate your community. You got to hate yourself. Listen, Ed Brooks. You know who Ed Brooks was?
No, sir.
Edward Brooks was the first Black Republican Attorney General in Massachusetts in the early 60s. He is the one that prosecuted the Boston Strangler. He was a Republican senator in the 60s and 70s from Massachusetts. He was a pretty moderate guy, smart guy. He didn't hate himself. He was a Republican, but he didn't hate himself. Colin Powell worked under 3 Republican presidents. A real Black man. He don't hate himself. So why you get these Candace Owens and these Larry Elders, Ward Connolly? Ward Connolly is a guy that went from state to state against affirmative action. You know, because they say, you know what, we don't need any help. Black folks just need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps like everybody else. So we hear this crazy mess and we see them trotting out James Craig, who don't have a clue for how to run an election. He wasn't prepared for the announcement. He's not prepared to wage battle in this state. He's not going, what he's going to get about 6%, 7% of the Black vote? Not enough to win.
All right. We've got voting restrictions all over the place, especially here in Michigan. We've got all of these races that are coming up. Mr. Mongo, before I let you go, who and what should we be watching for in the races that are coming up?
Well, listen, we're trying to take back the Senate. We might lose a seat here in Michigan because of the population drain. This is like Reconstruction. And what's so bad about it, they put more restrictions on the way people can go out and vote, but most of the people don't vote anyway. They make it easy for these Republicans. They play hardball. Democrats in control of the House and in the Senate, and they can't get their act together. And then we got an issue at the border. You see how they treating the Haitians? Joe Biden and them need to be ashamed of themselves. I'm telling you, we have to send a tough love to the Democratic Party, and the Congressional Black Caucus need to withhold their votes from the Democratic Party until they do the right thing when it comes to Black folks, the Voting Rights Act, etc. And I'm afraid if we don't do what Republicans do when Republicans are in control, they scorch earth policy. They do what they do. Democrats, here we are sitting back and we just waiting to be liked. We want to be bipartisan. Ain't nothing bipartisan about this. It's all about who's in control. They control the votes.
I'm gonna tell you something, Mr. Mongo. You just said something I think that is very key, and that I think that we are forgetting is that when the Republicans in the previous administration, they put everything that they wanted into practice. They just ran with things and they did pretty much whatever they wanted to do. And then they tried to even carry that over even into where we are today. They are playing chess, and it seems as though Dems are playing checkers. They are strategically placing people. I don't know all of where they are placing people, but they're placing their people in some strategic places. They did it when Trump was in office with regarding to judges and other people. And here we are at this final hour, and it just seems as though it's just never ending. Listen, thank you for being with us. Thank you for talking to us. You are a well-respected voice in this arena, and to come on and speak with Urban Interests and give your time is appreciated and truly an honor to meet you.
Well, I'm glad that you invited me, and I'm glad to come on and give my 2 cents. You know, we need more of the Black media. We don't have it. We used to have the Black newspapers. We used to make a difference in this town. And it seems like we not, you know, what are the issues? And people keep saying, what are they? Why don't you cover the issue? Well, we got to have voices out there that's going to put the issues on the table. And then you can debate them. But when you got folks that don't live in Detroit, don't look like Detroit, you know, they got their own agenda. This is what we get.
Wow. Don't live in Detroit, don't look like Detroit. This is what we get. We have been talking with Mr. Adolph Mongo. He has his own radio show on 9:10 a.m. It is on Saturdays from 10 to noon. He is a political commentator as well as consultant, strategist, and his voice has been heard in the plethora of many areas and states of the United States. And we truly are honored to have him with us today. So thank you again, Mr. Mongo, for being here.
Well, thank you.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, everyone, and then we're going to come back and wrap up this segment of Urban Interest.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was going to die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
911, what's your emergency? Oh my God, a child been shot! Signal 13 involving a child, the medicine route.
It is time to put the guns down. We've had enough. My future.
My future.
My future. Our futures are in your hands. Adults, put the guns down. Wanna play? Sleep.
Walk to school.
Visit my friends. I want to feel safe.
It's time.
Time to end gun violence.
Our lives depend on it.
Adults, this is not a request.
We demand that you protect us.
Put the guns down. We have hopes. Dreams.
Goals.
Don't let a split second of anger with someone else take away my entire lifetime.
Help us live. Help us thrive.
Help us build a better future.
Well, my goodness, today has been hot with topics as well as guests. Of course, you know, we do a wrap up, and the wrap up is this mayor's candidacy, this race that's happening in Detroit. Accusations of hate speech as well as disrespecting the democratic process, the debate. Will it happen between Attorney Anthony Adams and the current mayor? We'll keep you abreast of that. The atrocities that's happening over in Del Rio, Texas, with Haitians, immigrants, and the way that they're being treated. Will the Biden administration step up and really do something about this? One of their key persons resigned, Daniel Foote, from his post. That should signal something. When someone is in a key position and they leave, you need to pay attention. And then the Hollywood is mourning the death of Melvin Van Peebles. He is the father of Mario Van Peebles. If you have not seen this film, Sweetback, I encourage you to do so. And then we spoke with Christerson Janti. He is a Haitian successful entrepreneur, and he comes and he tells us about what is going on with the Haitian people, and they are doing something about it. And then political strategist, commentator, the voice of Detroit for many years and trusted as well, Mr. Adolph Mongo. I encourage you to don't miss any of these interviews and to go back and listen, because there's some valuable nuggets and information with what our two guests have presented to us today. You want to connect with us, go to urban.interest, that's urban.interest, or go to Detroit, DETIPTV.com, or our UIN broadcast network. We are all over Atlanta, Washington, Chicago, California, New York. You can find us. We are bringing you guest news information from an urban perspective that you won't see on mainstream media, but it's all about you. Talk to you later. Have a great weekend.